I had to put him on his lead because other dogs came. I'm just really interested in the field patterns and the buildings, which you probably can't see from this distance, but that's what I'm working on, getting into these paper sketches. There's always this thing that happens when I come back from a workshop, which is that I'm kind of thrown off for a little bit because you've been working in a different way, you've been following someone else's instructions, and you come back and you look at paintings that were half finished and you're just like, I don't even know my way back into this anymore. Because I've done it before, I know how it goes. What I did on these is I'm playing with, this is something I often do, so taking collage pieces out of old paintings and just sticking them, this is just with masking tape folded over, or you could use blue tack or anything. This is a bit of a torn off house. What would it be like if a drawn in house was there? So this is just a bit of paper. Just seeing what it's like to bring in this orangey colour. And here, I'm not suggesting collaging on these drawings, but what would it be like if I made a light area there and then drew in, where would I possibly want the houses to be? I want these two paintings to go together as one, but because I don't know what to do, I'm not going to go any further with that. This is a perfectly normal part of what happens. Apologies for the light in here, they're not actually as dark as they look. So what I am going to do is I'm going to go back in and work on a piece that I'm not happy with, that you saw me working on a couple of weeks ago, and just get back into painting without worrying about what I'm bringing in or not bringing in from what happened over the last week. And whatever comes out of that work will find its way into what I'm doing, but I just need to get back in the swing, because if I let this feeling of being disconnected carry on, you know, it can take over and then you can start avoiding working. It struck me as I was setting up that it's just all about accepting ourselves. It's just all about saying, I feel crappy about painting, I feel disconnected from what I did before, I feel a bit at sea, and I'm okay with it. It's okay, it's normal. There's nothing wrong with me because I feel that way. And now what can I do to just crack on? Because I'm lucky that what I have to crack on with is putting paint on paper or boards, not going down a coal mine. So what we have to do is not horrible. I just have to play around with paint and bits of paper. So that's what I'm going to do, and let's just see what happens. So this is the painting that is neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned. I need to do something to make myself feel better about it. And it's just doesn't know what it's trying to be. So I want to bring a lot more clean light areas into it first, because there's a lot of mushy where I used a roller over it. I got a bit carried away and I don't think I really got the best effect that was possible. So I'm going to bring in some really light, clean, thick areas of paint, smooth areas of paint, and then go from there. I find it really weird to paint sitting down, but if I don't paint sitting down, all you see is the top of my head. See, I love the feeling of doing that, but I instantly don't like the mushiness that I've created there. I need to put some tape around the edges of this, otherwise I'll be too tentative with it. Really needs to pull across here, doesn't it? One of the things that I did on the workshop more than I've done so far is to use various greens, and I'm wondering if I can pop a bit of green in here that doesn't make me want to run screaming for the hills. So I'll be brave about it. That is a mixture of green gold, yellow ochre and some lemon yellow, and that just makes a really strong kind of spring green, doesn't it? I feel like we've got a little bit in there, we've got a lot up there. Where else would we need some? It's kind of more of a glaze because this is a transparent colour, so it's coming, it's a glaze, you see, you can see the dark through that, that's quite nice. Ooh. It makes a kind of brownie, which I've got mixed in with some white there, so I'll probably have to remove that because I hate that. Right. This is going to need to dry. Good painting should look good either way up, and that just looks awful this way up. So that tells me a good abstract painting, I think, should look good all the ways up. Don't take that as a rule, just my opinion. This is a Neo colour. Now these are water soluble. Next time I add anything on top of that, it's going to dissolve in like that. I just wanted to see what happens when I add water to that. I've only used them for drawing so far without adding water. Whether that'll stay stable at all, I don't know. This is a coloured pencil, but because the paint's wet and it's not very good. I don't want to have all the light bits be the same colour. I'm just going to come in and take that out. We can always add it back in. I think that heathery colour's a little bit too harsh for me, so I've just added in a bit of yellow ochre. And then because we've got dark underneath, I could get a thicker scrape back, couldn't I, with that? This brush is got a bit damaged because I left it out by accident, and I kind of like what that's done to the marks it makes, so I kept it. Right, well, I'll certainly change that. Let me just give it a dry. Interesting, I see the workshop coming into this already. So parts that I like, scratched in areas. There's a bit down here that looks like a stone wall. So I can develop that and bring more of that in. Not looking at the page, and I'm remembering those walls and what it felt like to draw them. And I'm just doing it blind. I don't want this to look like anything meant, you know, intentional. Just a suggestion of something there. And I may paint over parts of this again, so I don't need it to, you know, I don't need that much as I've done, I don't think. And then to bring that into another colour area, this is one thing I always like in my work, is when a line continues through something that's a different colour, or, you know, the stones continue into a different area. And I wanted to bring this bright blue coloured pencil in somewhere because I wanted hints of blue in the sky. So you know when you get those cloudy skies and then you just get little glimmers of blue? I want some of that in this. Just in a few places. It looks nice set against that dark. I mixed up a desaturated green by just putting in red into a brighter green until it came to the colour that I wanted, which is much more muted. Because red's the complement of green, mixing it in with green will give you a more muted green. Taking out some of that wall so it's not quite as obvious. And moving that into there. And I might put more wall somewhere else, because this is one thing I got from that workshop, is the idea of completely deconstructing so that things are in not the right place where you would expect them. Another thing I like to do to take control out of my drawing is to hold the pencil loosely or right at the end and to move it round while I'm working. So that just again changes the marks that I make, because we all naturally make the same marks, and if you want variety and difference in the marks you're making, this is one way to do it, is by just controlling, you know, changing your control over your materials. Also works with a paintbrush. Another good thing is to do it with the wrong hand, work with the wrong hand. I could even try that here. Try and draw this house shape in with the wrong hand. I'm remembering one of the houses I sketched a few times. It had like a little shed on the end. I like how I just can't control the lines, so they go wrong. There's bushes and trees outside the house. This is my ultramarine blue and black colour combination, which I just really love. And perhaps not there where I just put it. Okay, I just need to stand up for a minute and have a look at what I'm doing. Maybe there where. And it really feels like it needs some kind of bright blue down here. We've got this bright blue up here and a little line of it there, but no bright in here. This is an oil pastel, so it's a different blue, but I like moving your eye around the painting with colour. I just went to dry this blue colour, and some of it, for some reason, I knocked it with the hairdryer, and for some reason some of it hasn't adhered to the paint below, but I quite like that effect anyway. And then let's bring in some, I wanted to bring some light across there. Another way I could veil these houses if I don't want them clear is I could draw them clearly and then I could put tissue paper over the top. That would be another way to have a hint of a house but not to have the house. I get something that's kind of what I think I'm going to do now is take off the tape and just see what it looks like, and then probably leave it for a bit. Now, I'm not sure what to make of it at the moment. This happens to me all the time. I knew I didn't like it when I stopped last time. I feel better about it now. So I think I just need to let it set. Just need to let it, you know, settle down, come and look at it another day. So what I find interesting is the main thing that I've brought back from that workshop is that I want to incorporate some kind of recognizable landscape elements. And also this green crept in, and we worked a lot with the natural colours of the landscape. This has become a lot more landscapey colour. So interesting again. This is what I mean when I say to you that these things seep in. You don't have to force it. They will come in whatever way they're meant to come in. And you know, in this case, they might leave again. I might decide, no, that's not what I want. Can't know that yet. You've just got to do it, and then see what comes out of it. You know how I say I can't stop when something's niggling me? What's niggling me here is this changing colour there, because it really confuses the eye. Continue a bit further in that colour so that there is a chance of making out that that's a house. And then it's okay for the other one to just be a ghost drawing of a house that looks like maybe I changed my mind. Having something even relatively dark in the middle there was bugging me because it's grabbing all the attention. You just stare at the middle, and even that might be too much. Even that might need to be even smaller, so that you're encouraged to go around the painting and not stay focused. Another thing that can be quite nice, although I'm not really at the stage for this at the moment, but we'll just see how it looks, is to pop some pure white into the painting at some points, especially if it's near something that's quite dark. See how when you put that next to the dark, it's like, whoa, just really grabs your attention. I generally don't use pure white, so when it appears, it's quite eye-catching. Right, leave it. Leave it. We'll come back and see what we think about that later. This is really too dark for you to see much, but I just wanted to explain what I'm going to do here based on what I've just done on the paper one. I want to put farm buildings drawn into here, and the areas where I want them are dark at the moment, so I need to come in and lighten them. I also want to try bringing some of that really bright green in. I just didn't want that to be a straight line. Now, that is not all going to stay light, but that's there for me as a background for what I want to do next. See what I mean about if you just get started? You'll keep going. Now, don't know if I want to keep these collage pieces in or not. Possibly. If I do, I want to get rid of this because it's too mushy, not clear enough colour compared to that. And I kind of want these two to continue and yet not continue. A little bit more meat in it here, it's too much yellow, it's too yellowy. I like that. I like how that accidentally then. Another thing that's been bugging me about this is if you were to look at this as a painting by itself, this whole dark area right in the middle feels like it should be over there. And if it were paper, I could cut some out and stick it over there. But what I can do to test that out is to collage some. I could do my taping and just see what happens if I do that. Wait, on something, on an iPad, something like Procreate, where you can edit your pictures without actually painting. But I do think that's more effective to have light in the middle and darker down there. It's a nuisance, because it means I have to get rid of this texture, which I like. Sure about what I'm going to do about the house, whether that's going to stay or not, but I'm pleased with what I've changed today. This just a little bit more of that bright green in, see it's creeping in slowly. Well, there's green, help me, there's green. Okay, I'm happy to stop on that one for now. Very pleased. That's it from me for this week anyway. It's so interesting, this process that we're engaged in. I felt like this morning I don't want to paint. I'm still stuck in the workshop. I don't know how to get back into my own work. I came in, I did it anyway. I thought I definitely don't want to touch these two. Then an idea from the paper one sparked something for those. And this is why I think it's so important. When some of you say that you like something, and I say do more of them, push this idea further. I don't mean, when I say push this idea further, I don't mean keep working on the same painting. I mean stop that painting and do 5 more. And when you're working on 5 or 6 things at once, even I've worked on up to 15 different paintings at once, you first of all can't get precious about any of them. Always have something to work on while the others are drying. And something that happens in one affects the next one. And so it's a circle that you go around with them all and you bring them up just like a family. And it can be really exciting way of working. I don't have enough separate things on the go at the moment. I finished a bunch before I went on the course, so I want to get started on 3 or 4 new pieces that can be working at the same time as these. That's it for me. I hope this has been helpful. Have a great weekend. Bye. I just wanted to quickly show you what I did after I turned off the camera, because I had another idea. Of course I was going to leave this one, but then I didn't. So I had this, I practiced image transferring a while ago, and I had image transferred a stone wall onto a background that I'd painted with watercolour, I think, and I had a couple of photocopies of it lying around in the studio, and I thought, oh, what would happen if I cut that up and used that in front of the house as a suggestion of a wall. Nothing else in this painting is realistic, and now you've got that stone wall element, and I think I like it. I'm going to leave it and see. I think I like it. I also just scribbled on the roof of the houses. I like that that scribble is just, you know, terrible scribble, but it does suggest a roof. And so yeah, quite pleased with that. And I'm interested in trying image transfer, but for that I need to get some laser prints. I only have an inkjet printer at the moment. Interesting.